Will Tyler Robinson stand trial for murdering Charlie Kirk? It's a question the state of Utah wants answered. Now, prosecutors are saying that they provided sufficient evidence for the case to move forward, specifically pointing to a letter provided by a Turning Point USA board member, which shows that Kirk's political views differed from Robinson's. But his defense attorneys argue the letter does not provide evidence that the pair disagreed on political issues or gives insight into Robinson's state of mind. So that's the state of play right now. I'm pleased to bring in here in studio senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano to break it down, and also Barak Lurie, an attorney at Lurie and Kramer, host of the Barak Lurie Show. I want to also note that Tyler Robinson has not yet entered a plea in this case. Judge, I'll start with you. If you think there is overwhelming evidence, as prosecutors have said, why would a judge not just send this right to trial? I know it's a Utah law, but I'm also thinking there was overwhelming evidence, no?
There is overwhelming evidence. Utah does not use, well, Utah gives the defendant the option between having the government present evidence in secret to a grand jury or having the government present evidence in public to a judge, and the judge determining whether or not there's probable cause.
Tony Graff.
Correct. The judge is relatively new and seems very, shall I say, methodical. I am certain he's going to decide that there's enough probable cause for the trial. I don't know why he's waiting, but what you're talking about today are sort of the closing arguments at the end of the probable cause hearing, which in Utah, the closing arguments are made in writing. So one of those writings was, look, the defendant hated the victim. The evidence of his guilt is surely enough for a trial. Surely it's enough for a trial. The judge shouldn't wait any longer.
I think another thing that makes this maybe not problematic, but why methodical, is that the death penalty is involved. And if you're a defense attorney, Barak, you're going to do everything you can to try to get Robinson, not to face trial, but also they're going to push to maybe have him have, life in prison. I don't know if they're going to try and make a plea deal, but talk to us about some of the strategy that they can use the Utah law now to help their client, which everyone believes should stand trial pretty much.
Right. Well, look, they're going to push every argument that they can in order to somehow delay this process and maybe get the death penalty removed from any consideration. And I think part of the reason why the judge has been so methodical, as the good Judge Napolitano just mentioned, is, among other things, he's fairly new on this, but at the same time, he understands that there are a lot of cameras on this as well, and he wants to get everything right. He doesn't want to be the one who screwed up the Tyler Robinson case.
Or the mistrial later.
Right.
Or mistrial. So this is probable cause, of course, not necessarily a trial where we have to worry about mistrial yet, but probable cause, it's a much lower threshold to pursue this. I think it will be held over for trial, as the good judge says. And look, he's going to have to be as methodical as he can, but all the evidence is there, the motivation as well.
We know how painful and dark this is going to be as it moves forward. So I want to change subjects here. A little bit lighter, but obviously a health concern when it comes to maybe food you're serving your family. The makers of Chobani yogurt, they're under fire. A federal court has ruled a lawsuit over claims that the yogurt does have sugar can now move forward. And it was a couple that sued them back in 2023 saying they were fooling customers, advertising this yogurt has no sugar. But after reading the list, the couple says they would not have purchased the yogurt or paid less if they had known the truth. Now, Chobani's statement is saying their zero sugar claims are accurate. In the bigger range of all of this, Judge, what is the big problem for Chobani if they're found to have sugar in there and have been making claims no sugar?
All right, the problem for Chobani is it added sugar or is it sugar naturally forming in the Greek yogurt? I didn't know this until reading the case, and I love Greek yogurt. But apparently some sugar naturally forms in Greek yogurt, and Chobani's lawyers advise them, you don't have to reveal that. The plaintiff's lawyers are saying, well, wait a minute. You said there's no sugar, and now there is some sugar. You should have told us. Now, ordinarily, here's how the trial court ruled. The FDA approved the label.
I see.
Trial court said, once the FDA approved the label, that's the end of it. The appellate court said, no, the label is misleading because now there's more sugar in there than Chobani revealed. They're going to have to explain it to a jury.
It's pretty complicated. And Chobani has another case. Barak, you're in California. This is a judge there allowing a lawsuit to move forward over claims the yogurt has only natural ingredients. So the plaintiff says, no, we got independent testing. There's trace levels of chemical additives. So overall, I think Chobani's either got to get some, PR here with what they're putting in, because they've got some legal issues now. People are really zoning in on what's in this yogurt. Finally.